So at the beginning of 2024, I made two major goals with my art this year, and that was to draw every single day and complete one full illustration every single week. I know it was a little bit ambitious, going good so far, but I was definitely struggling with it a lot at the beginning of this year. I was feeling very overwhelmed with all the project ideas I had in mind. I felt like I had a lot of ideas and I really wanted to work on a bunch of stuff, but I just didn't have a way to organize all of my ideas and references in one place. I just felt very scattered brain and didn't really know what to work on to work towards my goals, and ultimately ended up procrastinating because it wasn't easy for me to plan things out. Then I started using Milanote and it has been a breeze ever since. I seriously love using it for every single one of my art projects, and I want to share with you in this video how I plan my own art projects with Milanote and how it can help you to make more art and feel more organized and ultimately lead towards more progress towards your goals as an artist or to improving your art. And even better, I'm partnering with Milanote on this video. They're sponsoring this video, and I'm going to be showing you a lot of my own boards, and we're going to work on a demo board together. So if you want to follow along with me later in the video, you can click the link down in the description and try Milanote for free for no time limit. Big thank you to Milanote for continuing to sponsor the channel. So what exactly is Milanote? Milanote is a really amazing tool for planning and organizing your creative projects. It can be used for work, school, even like household things, like household decorating if you want to create a mood board for like your room or something like that. In my opinion, every artist works differently, and it's really difficult to find like a software that can match your own unique needs as an artist. And I think that's why Milanote really stands out to me as an artist and how it's works so well, because it's so versatile and customizable with all the different boards and all the different features that you can add to your board. For me personally, I feel like it's reduced a lot of overwhelm and procrastination with a lot of my art projects, since once I have an idea for like a painting or something, I could just create a new board and just like throw a ton of images in there and a bunch of different notes, inspiration, similar works of other artists I really like, put it all into one board. So when I go to sketch later or to draw or plan out the piece, I can just have the board open up on my desktop and just draw and have a direction and a focus, and just make it so much more of a streamlined process, and reducing that feeling of overwhelm or feeling like there's too many ideas scattered in my brain. I can just put it all on my Milanote board and just draw and have a good time. Overall, I just really like it and it's helped me so much, and I want to share some of my boards with you guys in this video. Okay, so here's my main Milanote dashboard. See, we got a ton of stuff going on, but we're gonna focus on just a couple of my boards. I'm gonna go into here and click this one. This is a board that I made for a character design project of my character Strawberry Sol. When I'm first planning out my projects, I kind of like to have this whole design brief with some like notes about the character, specific deadlines, and then some past artwork that would be useful to reference back to for this project, as well as a ton of reference photos for clothing, pose inspiration, and then also some different artists I really like, style or the vibe, the general vibe of their work that I want to include in this project. I really like having both of this like style and painting inspiration as well as my own like clothing references. And I find like this is so useful for character design because you can just really map out the development of the character and keep track of all the references you need and not have to scroll up and down on your Pinterest board or scroll through a file on your computer. It's all right here. I literally just like had this window open and just drew some doodles based off of this board, just trying to figure out Sol's character, and just, yeah, it made it so much more easier and less overwhelming because this was my first official character design project of this year and I was feeling really rusty, and so I just started putting images into my Milanote board and seeing what works, seeing what sticks, and this is what happened, and it was really helpful, and I got this really cool character sheet out of it. I also have one for my character Blueberry Bill. Basically the same thing for him. It was a little bit more intense because I was really trying to figure out clothing design and really trying to improve my clothing design. And I found out that you can add music to your Milanote board? And I was just like, of course I'm gonna add Orville Peck to his board. Like, that's not even a question. I was having so much fun just organizing this whole board. And it just made the entire process of like these character design projects so much more, like I said with Saul's board, it was so much more easier and ended up being so much more fun and relaxing, not having to stress about where I put all my references or flipping through different reference tabs. It was all right here and it was so helpful. Another board I want to show you guys is this painting project that I did like a month ago on my channel. It was for a tutorial, a digital painting tutorial. And I really wanted to focus on like this tea party idea with my characters. And I noticed that I've never really depicted a tea party scene. So I knew I had to grab some references from some of my favorite artists or artists that I just really like the style of, and some compositional inspiration to just build a base where I can sketch on top of. And that's also a really great thing. You can directly draw on top of your Milanote board. Selected the drawing tool and you can, hold on, I have it on white. I can't see that, hold on. But yeah, you could draw directly on your board, make small composition notes, some sketches. I did a bit of thumbnailing on here, if you could see, and then just like general vibe, messing around with different drawings. It's so useful and so helpful for specifically artists, because you just draw right on top and figure things out the way we figure things out through drawing. I also want to point out that you can link to previous boards. So since I had those two character boards of Strawberry Soul and Blueberry Bill, I knew I wanted to include them in this painting, so I was able to just drag one of these link cards and put in the link for that board, and it would pop up as a link to that board. So that's also really useful when a lot of the projects kind of intertwine and I want to be able to reference other characters. I was also able to implement some like note-taking that I did with a different software that I like to use, and just have this whole mind map for where I want to go with the painting. With my Milanote boards, I also really love to take a picture of my sketchbook page where I was sketching ideas in reference to this board. I just take a picture of it with my phone, and then in my phone I have the Milanote app and I can upload it to Milanote, save for later type section. I can't remember what it's called. And then I can click this icon up here that has like the little phone thing, and I can just drag and drop it onto my board, and it makes it really easy for referencing and it saves a lot of time. I tend to use multiple sketchbooks at once because I'm insane. It's really helpful to just have something like digitally accessible when maybe I'm like traveling or out of the house somewhere and I want to work. I can just open it up on my iPad, have everything there, and not have to bring 3 sketchbooks with me. You can also include links to videos. So whenever I finish a project and I used it in a video, I like to include the video link because that also shows more of my actual process in real time or in a speed paint. So if I just wanted to come back to this board and remember how I painted a certain thing or why I developed this certain painting a certain way, I can see this video and it's like, it'll be like a time capsule that I can look back on. But yeah, I found doing this for this painting in particular, since it was a tutorial, is really helpful for me to break down my steps of completing a painting so it could be more easily explained to you guys and more helpful to you. So Milanote is helping me help you. Okay, next we have, you guys remember that painting I did in February, I think it was? I remember I worked on it in February. I think the video didn't come out until March. But I worked on this larger scale painting. I think it's still one of my bigger projects from this year. And I planned it all out in Milanote and I kept track of things in Milanote. The original idea was like this melon soda color palette that I really liked. And it ended up being like this whole painting and this whole universe of characters. I find it really helpful to write a goal or a brief for a painting so I can stay on track when I'm like gathering reference photos, and I can always remember what I'm doing. So once I establish that clear goal, I gather a bunch of like compositional inspiration, even some like textural inspiration. I knew I wanted this piece to have like a organic, overgrown quality, so I found this on Pinterest and really liked it. I also included some object references that I later did some sketchbook studies of, and also some plant references because this painting was very platycerium heavy and I really needed to study the plant, so I included some references. And as I was working on the painting, I was able to like track my progress and see how the painting was developing. Gives me a better perspective on how it's turning out, if I need to change anything, if I need to go back to a prior step because I really like something that I included and it ended up being lost in a later step. This happens a lot with sketching. I'll really like the sketch and then it'll be further along in the painting. I'm like, why does this look so horrible? I love the sketch so much more. I find that including these references of my prior steps really helps to get a better result in the end and really make me like my art more in the result and improve. If you hadn't noticed already, I really like to include the final image at the end of my board or my project. For this one specifically, I included like a project reflection card because there was a lot of things in this project that I really wanted to work on further, and I wanted to make notes and ideas for future studies or future paintings to continue this project and to actually learn from this project and not forget all the ideas I had or forget what I've learned. It really helps to like cement everything when I write something out and refer back to it in the future. All right, if you guys didn't know already, I am planning to move pretty soon and I'm excited to start decorating a new studio and plan things out for that. So I made a whole Milanote board about it and it just makes me even more excited about the process, and it also gives me a general vibe for what I'm looking for. I've been able to include like product links, different small businesses that I want to purchase from to decorate my studio, and videos to reference for studio inspiration and just figuring out how other artists are decorating their studios. Also, I have like more specific product links for my business since this is my job, so I'm able to create a document right up here. You can just add a document from over here, and I was able to include more specific links to products that I wanted on like my business wish list to really figure things out and plan. And yeah, it just looks really cute. I really like it, and it gives me a better idea for how I actually want to decorate my studio, and I can't wait to share with you guys the final result. I can add color swatches for the general palette I'm going towards and what I want to look for in prints to put on the wall and just like desk decorations and all that sort of stuff. I was able to put in an image of the paint color we're planning for that room. I also thought it would be a really good idea once I get like better dimensions of what I think the room will be and what sort of furniture I have, to use that drawing tool again and just kind of map out. I'm trying to remember what the room looks like. Let's just do like this wonky rectangle. And I feel like it'd be really useful in Milanote to kind of like, okay, so maybe like the window is right here and I want to put my desk right there, my chair, my boyfriend's desk could go like right here, his chair right there. Maybe we could do like a bookshelf right there. I feel like this lends itself so much to like being able to clearly plan out what you want and be able to reference it in the future, and especially for artists, being able to draw on top of something and plan out that way. I personally think a lot through drawing, so being able to do this, I think the door is like right here. But yeah, that's just an example of how you could use a board for like room decor, or maybe you're moving into your dorm or moving into a new apartment. You can like plan stuff out and just figure things out and hopefully have a more cohesive result in the future. But this makes me feel more confident moving forward when I do plan to move in and get everything set up. So now I'm going to show you how to set up a board, just like a basic walkthrough tutorial of how I typically set up a board for a painting project or an illustration project. It says board over here, so I'm going to grab a new board and I'm gonna put it right here. I'm planning on doing like this fighting illustration with my knight characters. So I'm just gonna put maybe like fight painting or something. I don't know, I may change it later. You see this little icon popping up? You can customize this. So I'm gonna see if they have like a sword or something. Sword or like something like, let's do that. I really like that. And I'll keep the color. I like the brown color. It kind of matches with these. But yeah, you can change the color as well, do a custom color, all that fun stuff. You can also input your own image. So if I wanted to do like an actual image of like the characters, I can upload an image. Super easy. But yeah, let's just go into our new board. It'll show this like choose template option right here. And you can see like pre-made Milanote boards that people could help you start a project. So many. I specifically like to look at like the creative direction or the illustration templates. There's so many. So if you're feeling lost, you can always do that. But we're going to start with an empty board. So a really helpful shortcut is that you can just right click anywhere on your board and add any sort of new aspects to your board. So I think we're going to add a note starting out so we can write out our goals or intentions for this piece. You can also just double click and a new note will pop up. So that's also useful. Just double click and a new note will pop up. So here we have our note card, and I'm just gonna write out like a simple goal for this project. Okay, so I have like this general premise planned out. We have my focus, things I really want to practice. So like action, dynamic poses, weapon abilities. We have like the ratio set up of painting that I want to do. So I'm gonna look for compositions and photo references that kind of have that same ratio. It doesn't have to be the same ratio, but I am really trying to practice composition. So I want to be a little bit more specific with that. And then it's gonna be a digital painting and Clip Studio Paint. I want to give myself a timeline of 1 week and just have a general due date. It doesn't have to be done by then. And then I'm also gonna add some space up here and put project and give it a title. And you are able to change the text style over here. So I'm gonna change it to a large heading. So it makes it stand out a little bit clearer when I'm trying to organize things in the future on this board. Okay, so we have our goal board. You can move it around, do anything with it, make it do a little dance. And now I want to start adding some like reference material that I can use as I start to plan out this project. So I know that I already made boards of the characters that will be featured in this painting. So I grabbed a link for one of those boards and I can just put the link in here and enter it. And then I have a link to that specific board. So if I need references of that character, I can just go to this board and not have to make everything just in one board. I feel like putting boards within boards really helps to keep things organized. And so you don't have like a 12-foot long board of every single painting that you created. It's more broken down into little chunks so you feel less overwhelmed. I'm also gonna put another link to a character, and I grabbed the link, and you can also just Control V and it'll pop up over here. It turns into that board and I can just place it down over here. So I have 2 of those characters that I wanted to include in this painting. Pretty cool. And then I'm gonna create another note with more specifics with what I wanna tackle with this piece. So I'm gonna think about the location that I want. I think it'll be outside of this temple that I painted before, like this church temple. I want it to be featured in the background. And then also include like overgrown foliage, grass, just include a lot of nature in the piece. And then I'm gonna think about maybe like the lighting, which could be like the weather or like the time of day. So I think the weather is gonna be like generally like sunny, clear skies, maybe some clouds. And then the time of day, I think it'll be sunset. I feel like that could be like a really dramatic, epic scene. Since this will be like a fight scene, I want it to be more dramatic and having like a setting sun in the background and having like those pink colors with the green overgrowth. I feel like that could be really fun. So I'm gonna put that there. And I'm also gonna include a piece that I did before that I shared earlier in this video. This encounter piece that I did before. This painting's kind of gonna be like a continuation of that painting. So this temple or church that they're inside of, they're gonna be fighting outside of. So I'm gonna have that for reference. And then I can also include a caption of what's going on here and why I included this image, so that when I'm adding like a bunch of images to my Milanote board, I can understand why I added that image. Maybe there was like a particular color that I liked in the piece, or some sort of like compositional element that I really like. I can make notes under those images. So take for instance, I really want to include this painting as a reference for this project because it's like 2 characters fighting. I like the pink sunset mood. It's really intense, really dramatic. So I can draw on top of the image, but I can also do that thing where I add the caption and say sunset reference, like I like the colors or something like that. So when I'm looking So when I'm looking at the images, I'm like, why the heck did I include this image? I'd be like, oh, I included it because it's a good color reference. It's a good weather or like time of day reference. I find that that's really helpful instead of just like putting a bunch of random images on a board. And speaking of adding images, Milanote has this really cool web clipper tool that you can just add as a Chrome extension. So when you're like browsing the web, you can just clip an image that you really like and put it into your board. And save this image to my board, and it should show up and here it is. And it just makes the whole process so much easier, so you're not constantly flipping between tabs. You can just save like a bulk amount of images. And I'm just gonna change the caption because you know that it came from Pinterest, and what I really like about this image is the composition. The composition is really cool. Composition, I like the placement of the characters. So yeah, that's the web clipper tool. It's super useful. And yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and add all the images that I want to the board to figure things out. I feel like Pinterest and Milanote together can work really well because I don't really like using Pinterest as like a reference board because I don't like having to scroll up and down if there's like a pin down here I really like, but I really like the color of this one. That doesn't really work well for me. But I find that using it as like a gathering tool and then using Milanote as like an organizing and like figuring out what the heck I want to do sort of tool. Okay, so I gathered some more composition inspo and I added this card here. You just go over here and click the heading card and it'll give you a heading and you can like type whatever you want. But yeah, here's just some like composition inspo. I can move my images around, trying to figure out how I like the placement so that's like appealing to the eye, so I want to look at it later. Moving on, I'm gonna start to add some color palette inspiration. I focus a lot on color in my paintings, and I find that it's really helpful that Milanote has like these little like color swatch things, and you can like change them and it can automatically colors from your board. But I'm just gonna get these right here. I really like this like mustardy yellow that I'm kind of getting from this. I'm gonna change this color and kind of grab something from one of these images. How about this pink? Yeah, I really like that. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, I really like those colors. I think I could explore a lot with that. Having like a character in the shadow, and then having like the warmth of the foliage. And this is always changeable. My boards change a lot through the process of a painting, so it's okay if I want to like go back and change things. I just really love using Milanote to work through my like thought process and really figure out what I want to do. And Milanote just provides that space to kind of just brainstorm and mind map everything I want to do. I also know that I created a video about this story like a month or so ago. So I'm just gonna go over here and add a video card. Got my YouTube link. I'm just gonna put in there and it'll load with the thumbnail and everything and like size it up and down as I need. And I'm just gonna move it over here for now. Okay, so now that I have all of the different aspects I need for starting this project. Like I have all my character references and things that I might want to change with the character, notes about their fighting styles since this will be like a combat piece, some pose inspiration for fighting. I was just compiling all of like the basis information I need reference wise. So what I find really helpful once I have like this basis for what I want the project to be and kind of have a general idea of what I want to explore, I want to add a to-do list. So when I'm sketching or drawing or have the time to work on this project, I can easily know what I want to work on. So it saves me a lot of time. So I think I want to work on like exploring different fighting poses and maybe finding more references for that. I also want to study more dynamic compositions like the ones that I included in this board. Something that I'm really focusing on in my art right now is getting more dynamic perspectives and more like engaging subject matter and all that sort of stuff, trying to bump up like the excitement in my pieces. I also want to like, it asked me to if I want to add a title. I'm going to do that. So I'm going to put just to-do list, just like a general to-do list of all the things that I want to practice. So I can just like easily reference that to-do list once I actually have time to like sit down and draw and work on this project and just work my way through all those different aspects. And then when I have all of the drawings from that, I can put them back into my Milanote board and then have them for reference when I'm actually starting the painting. So It makes the process so much more streamlined and so much more organized, and it's ultimately better result because you're really taking the time to figure out all the things that you need. And I also want to mention this doesn't even have to be that complicated. Maybe you just want to do like a simple portrait painting and you just need 5 references. You just throw them into Milanote and it's like super easy. Maybe you just have a checklist. It's just like you just want to study the eyes real quick. It doesn't have to be as crazy as what I do it. I just need a ton of references for what I'm working on, being hardcore about improving, but it doesn't have to be that way. You can use it more casually. And then just some quick keyboard shortcuts. If you've been wondering how like fast I've been like zooming in and out with this, I am using control scroll with my mouse. I think that's the correct terminology. Maybe not, but I just press control on my keyboard and then scroll up and down with my mouse, and I'm able to zoom in and out on my board pretty efficiently. You can also do control Z to undo whatever last action that you did. And once again, that right click with all of those different aspects is really helpful with saving a bunch of time. Really hope this helped you get started with your own project or your own board. And you'll soon see as you start to add stuff to your Milanote board and add inspiration, it honestly becomes a little bit addicting, so be careful. After this whole video, hopefully I convince you that Milanote has seriously been a game changer in my whole art process. I wish I had this in school. I feel like I could have gotten so many of my art assignments done so much more efficiently, and ultimately lead to better artwork because it was more thought out and more clear and more organized. Planning and organization is key to actively progressing towards your goals, and when so many digital project planners feel too limited for artists and creatives mapping out their projects and mood boards, I feel like Milanote really takes the cake and allows creatives to really stretch their wings and plan their projects more efficiently and more successfully. It's made me feel so much more confident with starting new paintings and illustrations and actually finishing them. Having a place to just throw images and notes and connect them all together in a way that works with my artist brain and build a strong foundation makes the rest of the creative process so much more fun and so much more easier. There's less things to keep track of. And when you have like so many ideas just buzzing in your head, it's so nice to be able to just like put them in a board, see them all out there. You don't feel as stressed that you have to like get everything out in one go, in one sketchbook spread, exploring all the ideas. You can just relax and just throw it in the Milanote board and it's there for you anytime you need it. And big thank you to Milanote for sponsoring this video. It really means a lot. They have been a huge supporter of my channel these past couple months, and I just really enjoy working with them. So if you haven't already, click the link down in the description to check out Milanote for free, no time limit, and give it a try for your own projects. I think it could really help you as much as it's helped me, and I plan to use them probably for forever, for however long the internet lasts, I guess. It's been really helpful. And I can't wait to share more of my art projects in the future using Milanote. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching.